Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer and set up the absolute big picture of what the Bible actually says about human abilities versus the raw power of genuine love. Today, we're looking at a really profound daily bread devotional titled Love Above All, the Foundation of Faith. You know, our society places this massive, almost exhausting premium on what we can achieve, right? What we know, how we perform, our stats. But today, we're exploring a radical shift in perspective. It's a shift that challenges literally everything from how we build our resumes to how we interact with our own communities.
And we're starting right at the foundation. 1 Corinthians 13:2 establishes our core argument perfectly. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, but do not have love, I am nothing. To give you a little historical context before we jump into the deep end, the Apostle Paul wrote this to the church in Corinth back in the first century. And Corinth, it was this bustling, hyper-competitive hub where people highly valued status, intellectual knowledge, and just really impressive abilities. Kind of sounds a lot like the high-pressure environments we see today, doesn't it?
So, moving into section 1, the foundation of faith, it's all about shifting the focus. The absolute key finding from this research is that no matter how incredibly talented or knowledgeable a person is, without love, every bit of it falls completely short. Just think about the implications of this, especially for college students right now. I mean, you can spend 4 years pulling brutal all-nighters, fathoming all the mysteries of quantum physics or macroeconomics, securing those top-tier internships, and building this absolutely flawless resume. But the main argument here is that without a real foundation of love, those incredible achievements literally become meaningless in a grand scheme of your spiritual life. Which brings us to section 2. Gifts without love are empty. Let's examine the evidence. This perfectly illustrates the contrast between two very different theories, performance-based value on the one hand and heart-based reality on the other. On the left side, we're looking at incredible outward abilities, speaking in tongues, prophecy, deep knowledge, great faith. Sounds amazing, right? But on the right, the stark reality is they amount to absolutely nothing without the right heart behind them. And this aligns so perfectly with Reformed Calvinist theology. It reminds us that human efforts, outward moralism, and all those impressive abilities are entirely inadequate on their own. Without God's grace regenerating the heart to actually produce genuine love, our grand outward actions, they're just empty shells.
You know, it is so easy to get caught up in our own achievements. But this is a huge reminder that God evaluates our hearts to see if genuine love is actually giving value to our efforts. He's not easily impressed by our glowing resume of good deeds. He's looking straight at the inward posture. Love is that singular, essential element that gives meaning to the whole shebang. Without it, even our most monumental, exhausting efforts just fail. And honestly, that completely changes how we should be measuring our own success.
All right, into section 3. Love is the greatest. Let's look at the indispensable body. Paul really hits home here that no part of the body is unnecessary. We're called to function together in this deeply, deeply interconnected way. When one part suffers, all suffer. When one is honored, everyone rejoices. If you're navigating a college campus or maybe grinding it out in a corporate team, the temptation is always to view everyone around you as competition. But love recognizes that the parts that seem weaker, or maybe just less visible, are actually indispensable. We're all in this together. In a world that is, frankly, completely obsessed with success and getting recognized, choosing to live with love serves to radically recenter our priorities. It shifts us to reflect who God is. Remember, love isn't just some fleeting emotion here. It's eternal. And because God is the ultimate source of love, when we actually operate in love, we're putting his sovereign character on display for a watching world. Now for section 4, how to live it out. We're moving from theory right into practice.
Okay, so here is a really practical step-by-step process described in the document to make sure our service isn't just some empty outward action. Step 1, check your motives. Ask yourself, are you studying, working, or serving just to be seen? Step 2, prioritize relationships over performance. This is huge, especially for all you driven students and professionals out there. People matter way more than projects. And step 3, ask God for help to love genuinely. Again, leaning right back into Reformed theology, we're acknowledging our total reliance on him. We literally cannot manufacture this kind of pure, selfless love on our own. We have to ask him to supply it.
Building on that, we have 3 more vital steps for letting love actually dictate our reactions, especially when things get tough. Step 1 is practicing patience and kindness daily. In those super mundane situations, like when you're stuck in awful traffic or dealing with a really difficult roommate. Step 2 requires consciously choosing humility over pride, recognizing that our gifts are exactly that, Gifts from God, definitely not grounds for boasting. And finally, step 3 is letting love be the ultimate guiding force for all your responses. And that brings us to section 5, the final conclusion. Let's wrap this up. The source material wraps up with this incredibly powerful prayer that just perfectly summarizes the desire to prioritize selfless love over simple capability. It asks the Father to shift our focus away from merely what we can do and point it toward how we love. It's a prayer for patience, for kindness, and selflessness, asking that our lives might genuinely reflect God's love in literally every single situation we encounter. So, if you take away just one clear conclusion from this entire explainer, let it be this. Let love be the foundation of everything you do. Whether you're pulling an all-nighter writing a senior thesis, raising a family, or navigating really complex relationships, if the foundation isn't love, the structure just isn't going to stand. I want to leave you guys with 2 provocative questions to challenge how you'll choose to actually live this out today. First, are your actions and your service truly rooted in genuine love, or have they kind of just become a habit or a rigid responsibility? And second, what is one practical way you can step out and show Christ-like love to someone today? Really think about that as you go about your day. Let's make love the foundation.